Okay, next we're going to hear from Trang Tran. Trang is a senior research scientist at the USU Bingham Center, and she's going to talk to us about some improvements to meteorological models of winter inversions that she's been working on. Trang.
Thank you, Zed, for the introduction. And today I'd like to show you guys some of our research trying to improve the meteorological model performance in simulating the inversion layer in Uinta Basin, the intense case 2013. This is the collaboration between me, my colleagues at Bingham Research Center, Utah State University, and with Eric Crossman in University of Utah. And as many of you here might heard about winter ozone pollution in Uinta Basin. Yes, that is the rural area, but it does face some occasionally pollution event regarding to high ozone concentration. And it's only happened when we have, during winter time, that's a very interesting and new topic for research, because we normally see a high ozone in summertime, but in Uinta Basin, the story is in the reverse way. We see high ozone in wintertime only when we have inversion. So basically, inversion is just when we have snow on the ground, stick there long enough to reflect a lot of sunlight back into the air instead of absorbing it like background, and make the surface temperature is really cold compared to the air aloft. So that phenomenon inhibit inhibit the vertical mixing and the dilution of the air. So it tends to trap the pollutant close to the surface, and the pollutant we're talking in this case ozone. We chose 2013 as our research our study episode, because last year we have a very intense high ozone concentration event. We also, fortunately, during that period, we also collect not just our group, but also group from NOAA and University of Utah. We have a lot of monitoring data, so it's a good year to focus on research on. So what I'm going to show you guys today is the nudging approach. We use this approach to improve the meteorological model that we use. In this case is what called weather research and forecasting. It's the same model that predict the weather condition that you normally check whenever you go out with your family vacation. And this model is basically the mesoscale model. So it's the state of the science model. Then it is widely used in the modeling community for air quality research. It's do a very decent job in simulating the mesoscale and synoptic scale weather phenomenon. But when we use it to simulate the weather condition, especially during the inversion case in Uinta Basin, we're talking about like basin scale, smaller scale. So the mesoscale WRF model face some challenging issue. Previous study, Niemann et al. 2015, and also our own simulation proved that this mesoscale, without any modification made into it, tend to overestimate the very cold temperature that we see during inversion in Uinta Basin. It also tends to overestimate the very calm wind speed, and it overestimate instead of like predict clear sky and ice fog that we normally see associate with inversion condition. It predict very thick warm cloud that prevent a lot of shockwave radiation go down to the basin. So those kind of uncertainty in the default mesoscale WRF model tend to lead to underestimating ozone concentration a lot lower than what we see in when we in the measurement data. And that's not going to good for policy making to rely on for their policy making process. So it's so important that you have to give the photochemical model the right meteorological quantities. That's what our research focus on. And this just the domain. How can we use the, okay. This is just the domain that we use for Uinta Basin, and it's you can see it cover the entire basin. I just mentioned that the default configuration from WRF tend to overestimate wind speed and also very low temperature during the inversion episode. This is the figure that we compare. The black line show the wind speed, the measured wind speed, and the yellow line indicate the simulated wind speed from the default WRF configuration without any nudging. And the red line is the one that we apply the nudging approach using the surface monitoring data. And you can see it correct a lot in terms of simulating very low wind speed. Also, the temperature here, you can see the red line match the best with the black line. The red line again with nudging, surface nudging, while the default WRF tend to overestimate about like 10 degrees C during the inversion episode. So it nudging with the surface data does help with simulating some conventional surface meteorological quantity. Also, the nudging approach help in simulating the boundary layer depth. This is also another important quantity for chemistry model. And also the nudging also help with simulating the inversion strength. Inversion strength is just basically the difference between the temperature at different altitude. And you can see here the dot is the measure inversion strength. And it indicates that the inversion during in Uinta Basin in 2013 is really strong. And only the WRF run with nudging match with this inversion strength, while the nudging without, the WRF run without any nudging tend to underestimate that strength. Like sometimes it even couldn't produce the inversion condition. So nudging with the surface data is really good in a lot of ways, but it does have some disadvantage that we see. Here is the satellite image showing cloud condition in Uinta Basin for different dates. And here is the cloud that we simulate with the nudging configuration. You can see that during this day, for example, it's clear sky, but the nudging produces a lot of warm cloud, like very stormy condition. And another days, University of Utah group observed ice fall, but this nudging configuration also again produced very warm cloud, not cold cloud at all. This is the simulation without any nudging, and again, it already overestimated the cloud, but that overestimation even emphasized in the case that we apply nudging. So because the nudging emphasized the overestimation of warm cloud, so it lead to underestimation of shockwave radiation. That's not what we want to use for chemistry model. So definitely we need to figure out a way to fix it. As you can see, the red line is a lot lower than the black line. Black line is the observed data. And this reason make us evolve our study into a second stage. We want to utilize the advantages of surface nudging, but we want to avoid overestimation of warm clouds so that we have enough software radiation for chemistry, for the reaction in the chemistry model. So with at the second stage, we apply not just to nudge the data at the surface into the model, but we also use the vertical profile data that that people collect during the same episode. We also combine that into our nudging configuration to see whether we nudge with temperature and moisture all the way through from the ground up to around 300 meters, whether that had to reduce the overestimation of warm cloud. And as you can see here is the comparison between the run with the nudging with the surface only and another run called Venus is the one with the combined surface and vertical profile nudging. You can see when we include the vertical profile nudging, it significantly reduce the overestimation of warm cloud, which is what we want to see. And and it's also reduced a lot of range species in simulated data. It behaves very similarly with the nudging with the surface data in terms of simulating ice clouds. So this is something that need to work on more. This is just a fun animation just to show you how the WRF model try to imitate what happened in the real world. And this is the cloud produced by WRF, nudge with surface data only, nudge with both surface and vertical profile. You can see a lot of time this simulation produce less cloud than this, like I just showed in the time series plot. Because of it reduced the overestimation of warm cloud, it had to increase the shockwave radiation come down into the basin. You can see here the dashed line is the observed, the real measure data, and the black line is the one that nudging only with the surface data. The red one is nudging with both surface and vertical profile, and it really boosts up the shockwave radiation, which is what we want to see. So some main conclusion is that observational nudging using the surface data is really already good in helping to improve the some of the meteorological quantity simulating, but it has some problem with cloud, and by applying vertical data into the nudging, it help to reduce overestimation of cloud. That's it. Thank you, and I'm ready for questions.